everybody. It's Wednesday morning. Christmas is less than a week away. I have got to get out of here in 45 minutes. I have to be dressed and out the door, and I haven't even had my shower or my second cup of coffee. Here we go. I have something I need to say, so I try to go with the flow or I lose the moment and I don't get back to it. You know, I was struggling last week. I'm working on it. I'm working on the mood elevation, and I've put a few things in place. But what I want to talk about right now is, I think, more important. It's a concept that we've not addressed a lot in the community, and I think it's time it was addressed. And I think part of that has to do with the age of our community, the cyber age of our community. Let's face it, I did this 3 years ago, and there were people making videos, and they've been probably people making videos for a good 6 years, 7, 8, I don't know, 8, how far it goes back. But I was only involved watching the year before surgery. And so for at least 4 years, there were a bunch of people to watch and follow and be inspired for. And before that, I have no idea because I wasn't part of it. I wasn't a twinkle in my mother's eye, as they say, as far as WLS is concerned. But here's the thing. I'm coming across people with all different kinds of surgery who, although they are not embracing the failure concept, well, they will have lost a certain amount and stayed there. And they didn't necessarily regain. They might have regained a little, but they never got where they wanted to initially go. And this has come up like 3 times in the last week. That's why I'm talking about it. But they really desire to go further. They just haven't, you know, they just kind of want to start approaching this. And for example, once you've lost a certain amount and you get comfortable and you're just doing your own thing, there's a huge difference between someone who just told me they'd started at like 360 and they've spent years at 230 or 220, and now they really are starting to desire to do the rest or do more or get to whatever. They desire to go further. They're not saying, oh, I didn't do well, I didn't make it, that, whatever. No, it's not about that. It's about the concept of phasing your weight loss. Now, most of us can relate to, and one of these people I think had a band, one had an RNY, and this one person who had a band lost and is stabilized for a year, but now desires, you know, says, geez, I didn't go quite where I wanted to, you know, and how do I get back on track? Not that she's grossly off. So here's the thing. We know what it's like when we're in the losing phase and we hit a plateau. And the plateau is just a resting place for our bodies to adjust so we can go back down again. Well, I think when one of the people I was communicating with about this concept said, maybe I should look at this as phase 2. And I thought that's a brilliant way to look at it, a phase 2. It's okay. A phase 2 doesn't mean you failed after phase 1. It means phase 1 was complete and phase 2 is the next part. And the more we think self-empowering thoughts about our approach to this lifelong thing, and remember how we're trying to get the diet mentality out of our heads, and I feel pretty good about the diet mentality. I don't do, I mean, a lot of people, well, I won't talk about a lot of people. Anyway, I think that it's important we remember that, you know, as long as we're breathing, there's growth. As long as we're above the dirt, we have an opportunity to change and have more growth. We can think about the person you were at 360 or, you know, wherever you started, and you lost a substantial amount of weight, but you've stayed still what people would say was heavy, but a huge difference between 360 and where you are now. So let's look at it that way and say, I have learned, I am a different person than I was from 360, and I have maintained this for years and years. So you've already grown in a certain way. So whatever, where you started to where you stopped for a season, if you want it to be a season, you had to grow and own that territory. It's like taking the land. You've taken the land of your body and you've learned how to work with it to maintain. And now you want to take more land. It's time to explore new territory, new options, new approaches, new avenues to see if you can get your body to cooperate to go further down. Now let's face it. And on that point, let me just talk about myself a bit. I did all right. I lost the weight. I learned how to manage to keep it off, and then I moved to England. and I started to feel like I was on perpetual vacation. Now, that doesn't mean I eat crap all the time. I didn't. I mean, I did have fish and chips once, maybe twice, but I only could eat so much because the greasiness was gross. I still don't eat a lot of white potatoes, rarely, and I really don't crave white potatoes. I used to. I would go out for steak and potato at home years before, and I always wanted my potato before I wanted my steak, even though I really like steak. Okay, so nothing like a baked potato. Anyway, I think it's important to remember that when we're in the losing phase, and I don't think enough is said about this, and I'm doing some reading on this in other avenues, I constantly was thinking about how can I reshape my body chemistry as I'm losing to work properly, my metabolism to work properly for the rest of my life, because I really think I had a banked metabolism. I think I ate very little, and I didn't lose. I was also some sedentary. Okay. I wanted my metabolism to continue to work in my favor, and that's difficult if you go to extremes. One of the reasons I walked and exercised in moderation in some ways and built muscle tone, and I don't have it like I did because I have not been doing my muscle toning. Janie would say to me, you've done well because you built muscle when some of us did not, and that muscle has helped your metabolism keep going. And I think she had a really good point. So I need to get back to my muscle building to get my metabolism to work in my favor again. However, you think about the big giant football players who eat and eat and eat and then play football and burn it all off, and then they stop playing football and then they get a big gut because they're still eating the same way. I think it's important, for me, it's important to do exercise that I love rather than I feel like I've beat my body into a bloody, pulpy mess on the floor, because when you treat yourself roughly, the other part of you wants to love yourself better, and sometimes that love takes the form of a little food. Oh, I worked so hard I can have this. Oh, I worked so hard I can eat that. I don't go there. That's not my approach at all. My approach is everything, not even everything in moderation. Bad stuff is bad stuff, but moderation on the iffy stuff and freedom and all the good stuff for your body. Walking outdoors in the sunshine, getting fresh air, bicycling, exercising at the gym in a class that makes you feel good inside here and physically. Whatever does that for you. But if you feel like I did this much exertion so I can eat all this much more, that's not a healthy pattern to form, in my opinion. I know good and well that because I was eating more grainy breads here, even on a daily basis, like I'd have a bowl of soup, that'd be great, all healthy, all vegetable, all pureed, whatever, but I always wanted to have my crusty piece of bread, and sometimes two. And if I was doing 6 miles a day, walking 5 or 6 miles a day, I could have it and it wasn't a big effect. But then when I started to add a little wine every day, and the more things like that added in, the more the weight started to creep up because I walked less. So I'm just saying, you've got to really monitor how your body's responding to your calories in. I could say now that I'm not eating this week. I'm not eating. I'm doing what I used to do. Walking more, exercising more. Trying to put a little more aerobic energy into it right now just to see if I can get the scale to move, quite honestly. Not to change my behaviors permanently, but change my metabolism. And I find the scale's not moving. So it honestly is frightening me a little bit. Part of it perhaps is me bicycling and my leg muscles are not used to that, and so maybe they're swollen a little bit. When you do a lot of exercise, they say you retain water from that too. So, because your body's damaged and it's pulling the fluid to kind of heal itself or whatever. I think that's kind of right, but if it's totally wrong, well, you guys look it up. So I'm not worrying about it, although I have tried this week to do the very best I could. I have to say I gave myself permission at our Christmas party for the office, where I got all dressed up, to have some wine. Not only did I have some wine, I had, about 3 glasses, so maybe 4. But that was that one night, and then I've had nothing. Although yesterday I really, really, really wanted to drink. And it's been since Saturday, and I thought, I'm going to have one. But what I had was, and I apologize for people who are, think this is a total mess up. But I gave myself permission to have a half a shot of vodka in a sugar-free appletini mix. I mean, that you make with water. A half a shot of vodka is not very much. So anyway, that's it. But I had it at like 6:30 at night. So it wasn't like I had it at 2 in the afternoon, which were some of the behaviors I was starting to see. 2, 3, glass of wine before Steve came home, another one we got. No. I've totally backed up. I'm redirecting. But I just wanted to say, this is not supposed to be about me. This is not a me video. This is about, let's feel like it's okay to be part of our path when you have to either redirect or correct your behaviors that are starting to go down the slippery slope after many years, or say that it's okay to lose this weight in phases and to be good with who you are in the different phases. And to just see that as part of the master plan all along and not a shortcoming. So maybe we need to look more heavily at what it means to do this weight loss thing in stages. For those, especially people I think with a band, or people who come from a really high point and then they need to, I mean to lose 200 pounds, it's okay to sit on that. This is the other analogy. You're coming down the stairs, you're coming down your steps, and you're on the landing for a while. That's not a plateau. You are living life on the landing. And then, a few years later, a year later, you decide you want to go down the rest of the staircase. That's perfectly valid. I want people to feel like that's a valid choice for them. So you might have to go back and read the How to Do It from the Beginning book and go back hardcore, which might seem like a diet, but really it's a do it. Yeah, I'll have to put some links down with this because there's definitely some cool stuff that I've been reading lately. A do it, not a diet. So just do it. Okay? I'll see you guys later. And by the way, the scale moved from that initial bad number it was on to about 4 pounds down, but I'm sure a lot of that was fluid, but it has not moved since. And so I'm keeping on. I'll check in a few days and give you an update. Back to no bread, high fiber, volume vegetable consumption, and no alcohol. All right, and I'm taking a walk today, 7 miles. I gotta go get ready. Bye.